Karthik, which doesn't need any introduction, but welcome to the stage, the co-founder, the co-CEO of Infinite Uptime. Please, that's good. Mr. Ganesh Babu, Vice President of NTC, of Head of Indorama Petrochem, welcome. Mr. Sugamaran Mutuya, Director of Plant of Jabil Circuit, and Dr. Dew Kulpiruk, Advisor of PhD Automation and Control System. Now, I'd like everyone to take 45 seconds and give us the best introduction of your background in the context of this session, the role of technology in plant operations and maintenance, particularly for this summit, the rise of prescriptive AI-assisted decision-making. Maybe we'll start with Karthik. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think being in the industry for 3 decades, I kind of felt a lot of customers that I work with globally have struggled with a clear way to improve the operational efficiencies. There are multitude of systems, legacy systems, modern systems, and trying to have a single solution solving the problems has never been easy. And I genuinely feel the opportunity has come, and thanks to convergence of multiple technologies, and which will really help in assisting human to really improve significant efficiency, productivity, quality improvements in the manufacturing plants. I'm really excited about the potential future for the next decade.
Thank you. Ganesh?
Good afternoon. Sawadee Kap. I'm a mechanical engineer by background. I started working in India for 5 years. I'm working in Thailand for the last 33 years. I never imagined in my life that technology can change so much. I started with supervision on ground floor in the factory sites, and the change in technology has really surprised me. But the surprising thing is that it takes time for the people to realize. You need change agents for every site, every company, every factory. The biggest challenge for AI is mindset of people. You have been working with one set of mindset for a long time, and now if somebody asks you to change, it's always resistance from everyone. But definitely my journey to adoption of AI has been luckily fast, and I am satisfied with the adoption of AI technology in the companies in Indorama that I'm doing. I'm coordinating the manufacturing transformation initiatives across the CPET business segment of Indorama, across all the 3 regions, and I am in close contact with the AI and the development of AI in industry for the last, say, 1.5 years. So I can definitely vouch for AI to be the future. Thank you.
Sugamaran?
Good evening, everyone. Hope you are all doing well after having our tea now. Much better. So my name is Sugamaran. I'm from Malaysia, Penang. I represent Jabil. So we have 7 buildings in Malaysia for Jabil Penang. I'm in charge of Malaysia as well as Vietnam. So I've been in the industry for 37 years, but that doesn't mean I'm old, okay? So it has been a journey, long journey. I've seen the times when technology was old in the 80s, 90s, where things were not as efficient and as robust as it is today. Today we have gone to another level where sometimes it's unbelievable what AI and technology combined together can do for us. It has basically made our job easier, but at the same time, it's more challenging in a way that we get a lot of data, we need to make decisions, and AI is helping us with that. So with that, I think the way forward is how we can harness AI to enhance our individual building plants efficiency going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not the least, Professor Du.
Hello everyone, my name is Dio. I'm a professor in the King Mongkut University of Thonburi. Actually, my background coming from automation engineering, and I'm teaching in the area of the process automation, manufacturing execution system, and also the part with the AI application for the industry. Apart from teaching, I also work in the assistant to the president for digital transformation, and also work as the consultant for digital transformation in many companies, ranging from like the power plant, logistics in the pipe, petrochemical, pulp and paper, and also agro-based industry. That I consult many customers and learn a lot of the various experience how to make IT and OT people talk and transform digital transformation in all supply chain. That is my background about the automation and AI application. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining in. Over the next 40 minutes or so, we're going to split into 3 sessions. So one is challenges, the other one is ROI, and the next we'll wrap up with some risk and risk mitigation. So I'd like to maybe kick this off with talking about the future, how technology is transforming the very core of the industry. What's the one single biggest challenge you faced in leveraging technology for plant operations? So maybe we'll start with Karthik. You're a front of this front line, talking to a lot of different customers. What's the one thing that keeps you up at night when it comes to the technologies in your customers' plant?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, very loaded question, so I'll try to make it brief. I always felt, don't sell technology for the sake of technology. It should solve some very complicated, complex industry issue. And it is like Intel Inside. You can keep AI inside, but the question is, what problem are you solving? How simply you can communicate that message, you can articulate what are you trying to solve, and related to the outcomes become a lot more imperative, more than just trying to say, yeah, I have a technology. I've seen this for the last 15 years, right? If you look at many manufacturing customers have gone through this wave of Internet of Things, and they said now data lake, and they need to move to cloud, and they need to talk about analytics, and then IT/OT integration, Industry 4.0. I think there is a lot of change that has happened already in the last 10 years, and the culmination point could be artificial intelligence if you use it smartly. And how do you think you are going to really don't disturb what you have built over the last 10 years? Can you use artificial intelligence to make the maximum value out of it? I think that's going to be a real opportunity right in front, and which is what I genuinely believe the customers should benefit from for the next 5 to 10 years.
Thank you, Karthik. Now, Ganesh, what's the toughest barrier in operations and maintenance? We've seen you're responsible for multiple plants. You've seen a little bit of the challenges. What keeps you up at night now?
I think everybody must have seen the presentation which Karthik showed in the beginning, how much money is being invested for digitalization or transformation across the globe. But he didn't show one thing, that how much percentage of projects or how much percentage of investment is successfully resulting in benefits or savings for the company. That is the challenge, actual challenge. Most of the investments in this digital journey may or may not be resulting in benefits or savings or ROI that you're expecting. That is the challenge. And why is it so? Because people go and follow what the world is doing. Few years back, Industry 4.0 was the buzzword. Today, AI is the buzzword. The next on the list is agentic AI, which is already started. People do understand these things, but not the exact sense and the meaning. Many of the industries, they are investing in digitalization just to show that they are investing. Not that they are not interested in the benefits, they are interested in the benefits, but selecting the right tool, right vendor, right solution is the biggest challenge. And in that sense, I would like to also mention that infinite uptime is a solution which focuses on the value creation. The basics of this company, this tool is based on the value creation for the customer. So the chances of not being success or the challenge is comparatively much less than any other technology or tool in the digital or AI world. That is, actually I'm replying two questions at the same time. What are the challenges and how infinite uptime has supported to make sure that value is delivered to the customers. Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks for bringing that into the context. So maybe with Sugamaran, we'll change a little bit of questions. So you're driving digital transformation. What's the biggest roadblock stopping you from going all the way in across all the Jabil plants with infinite uptime?
Okay. We all know that today, thanks to Trump, the tariff has increased and profitability is at a risk, and OP is very important. So we need to do more than before to ensure we are profitable. But then, how do we do this? When Mr. Siddharth came to Penang, he met up with me and he told me that there's a system that can maximize my maintenance profile and also improve efficiency of all my equipment, all without anyone doing anything. I told him, come on, we are living in the real world here, right? But then he said, no, you give me a bit of time, let me show you. And we ended up talking for about 2.5 hours with all the slides he was showing me, and I was pretty sold. So, but then even I didn't quite believe that this can happen. So how do I convince others to jump into this together with me? My key guys were like, can this happen? No, boss, I don't think so. I told them, no, you keep your mind open, come and listen, see what this can do for us. And then we started on that journey, and I think there's no turning back anymore. We are full steam ahead. We have enhanced our maintenance program procedure, and overcoming people's mindset was the biggest challenge actually. Not only the upper level management, but even the normal technicians and all, because they felt that this can take away their job one day, jeopardize their livelihood. But now they understand that if they can upgrade themselves, they can be part of this movement.
Thank you, Sugamaran. Professor Du, you studied this deeply, advised many companies. From your perspective, what's the universal challenge companies are missing when they adopt new technology, such as the infinite uptime?
For my opinion, for the universal challenge, apart from technology, I think many panelists talked about the technology, right? But my experience, I think they need to balance three things. The first one is the technology transformation. You choose the best technology that's suitable to your company. But the second one is process transformation. The process transformation needs transformation strategy and roadmap to make sure that your adoption to the process that have significant to business direction. Otherwise, many companies, they start with many AI, but they cannot return to be impact because they doesn't have the strategy. But the strategy, the good strategy, need used for align and de-silo operation. That is very important when you try to make a digital transformation. And the last thing, the most challenging one, how make the culture transformation. Whenever you have a technology, you adopt technology, but the sustainability is coming with the human resource. Most of the project that I work with the company, I try to convince HR director or the HRO to make sure that they engage, they understand the technology. And the key important is they need to planning for manpower. Because the manpower, you need to set up the data team. The data team is not just only upskill, but they need new organization, new job title, and new digital skill. Okay, that my opinion needs to balance three things. Otherwise, the transformation is just adoption, but it's not sustainable. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, let's talk about the wins. I want to hear the stories in terms of the ROI applying the technology, like from infinite uptime. Maybe Sugamaran, we'll start with you. What's your story in terms of the ROI and applying it to your own plant?
Okay. Previously, for all our equipment maintenance, we had an outsourced maintenance contractor. So they come, they do these PMs every month. Then when I found out about this AI system where the performance of all equipments are measured real time, data sent to us, and if there's any abnormality, it triggers us as well. So previous method, we used to react only after there's a breakdown. My ASU motor breaks down or a chiller pump breaks down. By then it's too late, already breakdown impact our operation. There's no aircon, there's no compressed air, so total system breakdown, we are all under pressure to react, to get it up, and normally it takes like 2-3 hours to get system running. But with this new AI system where any abnormality is triggered, we get to know early that, hey, this bearing is vibrating too much or too much heat from that pump. So we can minimize the sudden breakdown. We instead do planned PM, planned maintenance, and this eliminates the sudden jerk to the system. So, and this in turn, whatever we spend looks like it was money well spent because the return is so much higher than what we have invested. ROI was unbelievably was so fast, less than 3 months. We go back to ROI, and now we are not like woken up middle of the night saying something has broken down. We have to send people to come back to the plant. So in that term, we are very thankful to this new system, but then at the same time, yeah, you have to spend money, whatever, anything that we do, we have to spend money, but then if the return is good, then it's money well spent. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Ganesh, from what we've seen in the keynote, it's clearly that Indramat is getting the ROI data. Double click from your perspective.
Yeah, as I said in the beginning, the wise decision for investment is more important. And ROI for a tool like this is very typical. It's different for different companies. Situations are different, assets are different, criticality of assets are different, and the biggest difference is the maintenance and reliability practices of the company. It's long since companies have started migrating from time-based maintenance to condition-based maintenance. Very few companies are now following time-based maintenance. People and companies are focusing more on condition-based maintenance, means more monitoring of assets. So when this principle started, many companies started to change towards condition-based monitoring. Sorry for elaborating, but this is important from my point of view. That's why I'm explaining. So the entire maintenance philosophy was mostly dependent on the monitoring of assets, checklist, checking of equipment on daily rounds, plant rounds. It's all good as long as the quality of plant rounds and monitoring and checking is good. The issue started when this starts getting diluted. If the monitoring is not done properly in the most efficient way, you miss out on all these alerts which are happening. You may be saying that we have condition-based monitoring, we have checklists, we have people going on rounds every day, but as long as you are not detecting these faults early, your system is failing. So from that sense, from that point of view, Infinite Uptime is a tool which helps you in the early detection, like what Sukumaran said. Most of the people must be aware of MTBF, mean time between failures, MTTR, mean time taken for repairs. but very few people know MTTD, mean time taken for detection of fault. This is where infinite uptime adds value. Not only identification of the anomaly, analyzing of the problem, giving prescription and recommendation of what could have been wrong, what seems to be wrong, and what action to be taken. This is combining the complete essence of condition-based monitoring. You can reduce your regular plant rounds and PM checks as long as you have this kind of system installed in your assets, because you will get early warnings. You don't have to go for time-based maintenance. You can always detect and identify and plan when you have to do maintenance. No need for carrying large inventories. Why I am elaborating all this is that these are all indirect benefits that you get. If a maintenance needs to be done to correct a problem in any way, whether detected by infinite uptime's early detection or by an operator during a plant round, you need to do maintenance and only then it can be set right. Even then, a planned maintenance is always much more efficient and costing less compared to attending to a breakdown. Breakdown can happen anytime, maybe in the night, middle of night. Like he said, now they don't have to worry about arranging people. We have, as Rajnish mentioned, my colleague, that we have tried infinite uptime in many companies in Indorama as pilots, and he has shown the list of companies where he has installed infinite uptime sensors and system. And I personally have seen this in the last few months in 2 sites in Thailand, and I can guarantee that ever since we installed sensors and given under the control of infinite uptime, there is no single breakdown of any of these assets which are being monitored. Now, coming back to ROI, if a plant is maintained well, you may feel that ROI is longer because you are already having less breakdowns. So now no breakdowns, so the return or savings is less. In the same way, if a company is not maintained well, not being monitored well, you may be having more breakdowns. There, you may get a much faster payback. That's why I was saying that ROI for this kind of tool is very tricky. Nobody will say that my system was bad, so that's why ROI is good. They will say ROI is good because they could save so many breakdowns and failures and stoppages. But wherever the system is good, their ROI could be a little longer. But definitely, this solution is a sustainable solution. There is very less chance of missing out. False negatives in this last few months of deployment, I have not found any false negatives. Okay, there are some false positives, but as was discussed earlier, all these are making the things, the AI is making it more smarter. And over a period of time, because every asset is different, every asset has its own characteristics. The more it learns, the more better it will be. So to reply in a single line, what was the ROI, what is the good ROI? Definitely the faster the returns, like his plant 3 months, the best situation. But I would say even 1 or 2 years ROI is absolutely good in this challenging situation. But let me also explain one more aspect about ROI. It is not just the savings that you should account for when you are calculating ROI. ROI, you should consider all other things. The downtime which you have prevented, the deterioration of asset because of the early detection of the fault. If the fault was not detected early, then the deterioration will result in a bigger deformation, and only when the deformity becomes big, that the conventional tools and systems by vibrations, sound is the last to hear. Even vibration monitoring normal velocity and acceleration, it will be observed after the deformation has become big. But this technology allows you to identify a very early detection of initiation of the fault. And many times you can also avoid stoppage by taking some corrective action. This is also another factor which you should keep in mind when you are calculating ROI. So calculation of ROI is a very vast subject, and we should take all the benefits related to it, be it the lesser manpower required, lesser breakdowns, lesser production loss. There is one part which is called actual savings, cost savings, maintenance cost savings, or downtime savings. There is another aspect which is called avoidance. Since you knew the alert, you taken some action, changed the lubricating oil or greased it, you have avoided further breakdown. So cost avoidance is also another factor which should also be considered when we are calculating ROI. So I would say the calculation of ROI is very critical, and it's a very detailed subject. And I have had a lot of discussion with Infinite Uptime team and also discuss and explain to them. And they are also, totally aligned with it. And definitely the entire, if you see in the entirety, the ROI is much, much faster. And it is a foolproof system. Like false negatives are literally zero and false positives also less. And the advantage of false positives being less is that you maintain the trust. If AI or the report is saying, check this bearing, check this equipment, and you find nothing, over a period of time, you lose your trust. All these factors are important. The chance, the more cases of trust being maintained, you will know the effect, that how with the alert and the actions taken, how much you could save and also avoid. So all this, when considered, ROI is much faster. Thank you.
Ganesh, great insights.
Just to add
Please.
on something to that. Before the AI came into picture, I have had guys who are supposed to monitor the equipment's manual monitoring. They can do this monitoring while sitting in the cafeteria having their coffee. So we have the data, everything is great, and suddenly equipments break down. But then, that is what we face. But with the AI today, it's all real time. We don't have to depend on human, because humans, some are very responsible, some are not. So AI really helps in this sense. Thank you.
So in short word, this technology is foolproof. You cannot play around. Like he said, sitting in the coffee shop, all vibrations are checked and it's made okay. This will not allow that. So I am totally convinced that this is a technology which is there to help the plant.
It doesn't get any better when you got two end user articulating the differentiation of the software. So Karthik, I saw you taking notes. Maybe you continue down that path. Anything else you want to add on a differentiator?
I thought I can skip because they've already covered what I wanted to say. But I think to cut the long story short, I just want to give some statistics of what we take pride in. Because finally, what we value is our customers' feedback, our customers' outcome. Are we really impacting their business? Are we really impacting their production outcomes? We don't want to be an AI company without solving customer pain points. And I just want to share a few things that we have noticed in the last couple of years. We had been able to monitor about 100,000 plus locations, and we have been able to generate about 130,000 plus recommendations. What we take pride is more than 95% of these recommendations have been acknowledged by our customer and closed in our system. So which means what Ganesh talked about in terms of trust, I think that is definitely getting established at more than 95% are responding to our recommendations because they do genuinely believe this is the right recommendation, it helps me, it makes my plant to be healthy, I want to act on it. Right? That's one single ROI metric to me, our customers' adoption. The second aspect I want to highlight is they also give us in our platform how many potential downtime hours we help to save. This translated into almost 110,000 hours of potential breakdowns that we avoided. If I convert this into $10,000 or $20,000 per hour of production loss, this is more than $1 to $2 billion of savings that we helped our customers achieve. what we have earned from our customer in the last 2 or 3 years is less than $25 million. So you can imagine we have delivered more than 40x of ROI to our customers. This is something that we genuinely believe is really making a huge difference in our customers' life, and we want to continue to enhance the value creation part. I also want to give 2 specific customer instances where the customers have directly told us. One of the tire manufacturers, who is amongst the top 10 in Asia, they said last year, which is 2024, they achieved about 15% more production capacity without adding additional plant capacity. They said they are able to do because all the critical equipments were monitored by us, and this was a VP of plant operations who was directly working with us in making sure I don't have much of trust in my team. Can you make sure that your engineers, your reliability engineers are really monitoring the fixes, not just our recommendations, making sure my team is fixing whatever recommendations your team have come up with. So this kind of shows, he directly said they got 15% more production capacity output in the last 12 months, purely because they have better mechanism of monitoring, making sure, saying that they are acted upon in time. They've also asked us, can you help me to really create the remote plants don't have the right maintenance engineers. They don't have skill. Can we really make sure they only are required to act on certain recommendations? They don't need to analyze anything. So we built a system that is directly going to the maintenance team who really has to do certain physical action. They don't need to analyze anything. I think this really takes a lot of skill into the technology. And this is the other tangible benefit, or intangible benefit which comes along with that. How do you make sure you are able to really take a lot of recommendations to be built in the system, which also acts as a reference or a knowledge base or a knowledge system for the future? I think that's something which is really something we take pride in.
Thank you.
I'd like to add that whatever numbers of savings, what Karthik said, I'm 100% sure that it is not coming from them. Every time an alert is raised, Infinite Uptime engineer follows up with the site till the time the alert is closed, and all the savings and benefits and downtimes that is entered into the system is done by the site engineer. It is not coming from Infinite Uptime. So all the numbers which are being showed as savings and benefits are actually the real benefits to the site. It is not something created. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I also want to quote one last thing before I pass it on to Dr. Dew. When we were in US about 6 months ago, we were attending a American iron and steel event, and we launched for one of our US steel customer our solution 2 months before. And on the day when we are attending the event, we got an email from customer saying that, hey, thank God we have gone with your solution. We have avoided 24 hours of downtime where the entire plant would have been shut down, which is about 1.5 million ton per annum capacity plant. And to us, that's the real testimonial of our platform, more than the revenue that we earn from customers, because we want to build the trust. We want to make sure that it really helps them whenever it matters. We are there for them, right? I think that's what they really value in our partnership.
Before I go to Professor Dew, I just want to double click on one aspect that Ganesh had mentioned, which is, you've mentioned it does not come from your customers. How does that feedback get looped into the software? Maybe one of you double click on the software that you get the ROI from it.
So it's a closed loop system. On the platform, all alerts are generated, notifications are given, action taken, recommendations given and action taken. And once the actions are taken, the site team needs to enter the information into the platform and enter the correct actions, what has been done. This is not helping Infinite Uptime, this is helping the site themselves. Because the more the information is correctly entered into the system, as was discussed earlier, the smarter the AI engine becomes. And the more smarter the AI engine becomes, you will get a much more accurate prescriptions and predictions from the AI engine. So that's how all the feedback are entered into the system by the site teams and till the alert is closed.
Love this. And 20 years prior to this and working with software, I haven't seen a software like this with the closed loop that gets that feedback from the customer. Professor Du, I want to pick your brain on the outside-in view on this ROI.
All right. Before we talk about ROI, normally I often talk with the C-level or executive. Before we starting talk with ROI, I will talk with them to think about the transformation objective first. Because ROI is level of project, you need to clarify what is the meaningful transformation objective. In different objectives, they coming with different ROI value. We need to understand this. So the way that I convince the top management is, normally I try to convince the customer with the meaningful objective first. For example, we do like digital transformation. I try to motivate them think about integrate supply chain. If we start with the question with integrate supply chain, for example, we done on the asset management. Asset management is not work only for maintenance department. They also work with the warehouse to spare part management, right? When we think about integrate supply chain, we think how can we optimize resource in level of planning, not only level of execution. When we think in level of the resource planning, for example, you got like the predictive maintenance, but you need to think how we integrate back with the ERP, because ERP also have another perspective of the spare part management that consume a lot of money on that. If you think just the execution, but you not go in level of the resource planning and resource optimization, you may not get the better ROI. So my recommendation mostly, we need to clarify objective. In general, objective for transformation, we can classify to be 4 objectives. The first one, objective for growth. The second one, objective for lead. The third one, objective for customer satisfaction. For example, you investment for logistics. Mostly they invest for satisfaction. They may not lean. Lean is part of this, but we invest for customer experience. And the last one is the risk management. Somehow we invest sensor, we invest system, but for safety purpose. But the safety not use ROI, but we use the framework of risk management, right? So you need to clarify that whenever you do the project used for which objective. In each objective, they coming with different ROI value. But most of my customers, they use the same value for all. For example, 2 years, 24 months, they use for all projects. But I try to convince before you define ROI, you need to clarify architect, the digital architect. Somehow the project we done for infrastructure, it's not for adoption. Because many companies, they try to go to data-driven organization. Let's think about it. They have 2 layers. The layer of data integration and layer of data adoption and data utilization. If you do the project without clarify the layer, the ROI is coming, it may not satisfy the criteria. But if you understand that this one is invest for infrastructure, the ROI must be longer. But if you invest for adoption, the ROI may be shorter. This one is very important. So mostly I'm work with the client, try to motivate the top management understand. Don't use one value for all project. Otherwise, you cannot see the holistic of the transformation. That is the crucial thing. And that is the challenge. It's not easy, but if you don't have the big picture of transformation, you cannot do this. That's why I think the one thing that before you do any transformation, clarify the goal objective. Integrate supply chain, I think it can use for every company, but it's very challenging because you need to participate, work with many departments, many functions, and the challenging thing is how can make sure that we can de-silo operation. If you don't have good architecture strategy, it's very hard to de-silo. I think everyone, if you work with some problem that integrate more than department, of course, the de-silo is the most challenge So for my question is ROI it like the gatekeeper for the project. But for my recommendation, don't use one value for all project. You need to know which one used for infrastructure, used for adoption, or somehow used for sustainable transformation. It's different ROI.
Great insight. So it looks like you want to add something, please.
Yeah, I mean, ROI typically for infinite uptime project. There's another aspect which I wanted to highlight. People have been changing. People used to go and use handheld vibration meters, check the recordings, keep trend, follow the trend, identify, and then take action. The next stage came when people installed online vibration monitoring sensors. Oh, then we will get the data continuously. The fault, the defect in that system was data is coming, but nobody is there to analyze in time. We tried to hire a vibration specialist. For a small company, a vibration specialist is a highly talented skill, and especially in Rayong, they don't stay for long. They have much bigger demand. Finally, when this solution came, we did not worry about hiring a vibration specialist or follow up on the sensors which have become defective, because everything is covered by infinite uptime. Right from installation of sensors, connection to their platform, replacement of sensors if any sensor is damaged, or collecting the data, analyzing it through people, through AI engine, then generating the alerts. So the entire scope of asset monitoring is covered. Now these are benefits which are not easy to quantify and measure as savings or benefits. So this is also another aspect which we also should consider when we are talking about ROI.
Love this.
Thank
So
you.
it's incredible. It's user-validated ROI in maintenance to prescriptive cutting downtime, reduce energy consumption, among other things. But it may not be all smooth sailing. So let's talk about some of the risks that Professor Du had mentioned earlier. So maybe we'll start with you, Ganesh. You're scaling tech across plants. What's the scariest risk, and how do you plan to tackle it?
I've been talking so much in favor of infinite uptime. Now he's asking me what is the risk. I mean, I'm not supporting infinite uptime. I'm supporting the technology, the concept, the solution. The risk. The risk is, number one, as I said, a well-maintained plant, you may feel that the ROI is coming too long. Whereas a plant with many breakdowns, many stoppages, or opportunity for maintenance being more in between stoppages, they may feel that ROI is less. So this is a concept which sometimes works in negative for this kind of solutions. Even though long-term goal is definitely positive, for the calculation purpose it may appear to be a risk factor. Second risk for this kind of technology is, of course, like Sukumaran pointed out, the mindset. People normally don't accept new technologies and changes. And this particular initiative, you don't need that much of change in mindset. It is helping the teams. You don't have to depend on vibration specialists who are taking the rounds, or you are not depending on a third-party vendor who is coming and taking monthly readings. So all that kind of dependencies is going away. So this is something which is not a risk. But when we are talking about risk, we are now totally dependent on infinite uptime. That is a risk. If tomorrow they close the company, then the mindset of the people who are trained for vibration technology analysts, all those will have to start finding again. So along with having infinite uptime, we should keep developing that skill, because whatever alerts are coming from the system, they need to be evaluated again to make sure that it is right and we are taking the right decision. I mean, this was on a lighter side. The third risk, definitely, the question from the management always comes, the return of investment. whether you really get the investment or not. If the customer is not taking the right decision or wiser decision of selecting the right and critical equipment. If you plan to install sensors in all the assets in the plant, whereas most of the assets are running well, don't have much breakdowns, have standby equipments, you may not feel that you are getting enough ROI. So my suggestion would be for every company to start selecting the highly critical assets first so that you can prove the value. And when you see the value, definitely you can increase the adoption. The risk part, what I'm trying to say is that if any company goes for 100% adoption for all the assets, that may result in some risk of not getting enough ROI. So these are the three risks what I feel for infinite uptime or using infinite uptime technology. Thank you. Sorry for giving long answers for every question. Huh?
Thank you. So Kamiran, you're at a different stage in your journey. I'm curious, anything else you want to add in terms of risk?
Okay, basically, the risk is I feel very complacent now because I know any issue, problem, a trigger will come. So I'm not so intense into tracking how the equipments are doing. But seriously, that aside, for corporate companies like JBL to implement something like this, which is online, there's a lot of issue related to our IT department, corporate IT, where they are very concerned with data security and all that. So, because this is all online, it's on cloud and whatnot. So, their concern is what if someone taps in, they can get all the privacy policies of JBL and all customers, non-disclosure and all. So it's a risk. They feel it's a risk, but then when we explain to them that this system we are not integrating with the JBL's cloud system or what is standalone, then they understand that okay, then it's safe. If it's just for your plant PM purpose and all, then they were okay. So that was the original risk pushback that we faced, but we overcome that, so we are okay now. Number two is the employees in the facilities department. Originally, they have to go personally, look at the plant room, look at the equipment, do measurement, log in the data and stuff like that. But today, they have moved to looking at the data online, implementing graphs, charts based on the data they receive, so that one look we know where we stand, which equipment is deteriorating or which equipment suddenly we see the running amps increasing, and also with that we plan better, we do immediate checking, so we manage to increase the uptime of our equipment and reducing the downtime for production. Because like a plant like ours, our revenue per day is USD 10 million. So imagine if we interrupt the plant for even 3 hours a day, the amount of money we lose is nothing compared to the spending we have put into this system. So we have done many things over the years to improve what we have, but this is one system I'm very, very happy with. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Professor Du, you've got the bird's eye view. What do you see as risk, listening to the two customers there?
Let me add up the comment from the previous panelist. I think when we mentioned about, apart from cybersecurity is the part of the data governance. But data governance is quite far away, not relevant with the OT people. But by the way, it's very important. The data governance, they account from the data unify or data catalog, data quality, data security, and data privacy. But this one, you need to work closely, and OT people need to understand. And IT need to understand the constraint of the OT people that well. Otherwise, when you comply the data governance without understanding of the constraint of the OT people, they're going to be effect on the operation as well. that is quite important apart from a good digital ecosystem. The data governance must be integrated and understand all the people who utilize the data, not only the business level, but also the operation level.
Thank you. Karthik, anything you want to add or wait?
Yeah, just a minute.
Ganesh.
Just before Karthik goes on, the point what Sukumaran and the professor raised about data, cybersecurity, data security, coincidentally, this system works entirely separately without no mixing of data or connection with our company's site IT OT system. So in simple words, I would say the cybersecurity risk from this system is less than what we have when we are using our mobile phones. So that will make it clear, the risk part. Thank you.
Thank you. Karthik?
Yeah, interesting points. And first, I want to answer Ganesh's risk that he talked about in terms of startup risk. I just want to assure all our customers and prospects that we are well funded and we have the asset of more than 800 plus plants that we track today. And we really want to ensure their trust is continued to be built to the future. And more importantly, we are a physical AI company. We are not a digital AI company because we are connecting the plant assets to the AI. So which essentially means the future is going to be more and more physical AI, because if you are going to cover about, like what I said, 25,000 plus assets we are tracking, those assets are not going anywhere, right? Those assets are going to be there. And we have...
will only get added more.
Exactly. And we said we have less than 0.2% churn, which essentially means we don't lose any customers in the last 3 years. We lost 1 out of 800 plus plants, which is very, very high rate of trust. And the 95% customers who adopt on a continuous basis by looking at our recommendations is the biggest asset that we carry. So I just want to really make sure that on the lighter note, while he didn't mean it, but I think I do understand from enterprise standpoint, you want to work with a partner who has a long-term vision, who has a long-term ambition, who want to work with you in helping you to be sustainable, right? Be rest assured, that's a point. We are there as your partner for life. Be rest assured on that. Couple of things I just want to highlight. I think this came out during the break. One of the attendee participant asked this question: what is the risk of obsolescence of your technology? I just want to tell them, saying that we talked about AI being exponential. If somebody has to catch up with what we do, they should have more than 25,000 assets on their platform today. As we are growing at 100%, you can imagine we would have in the next 2 years more than 100,000 plus assets. So unless somebody has those 100,000 assets, there is no way that their system could be better than us. So in AI, it is exponential in terms of how the gap gets created. And we do believe that's something we'll continue to invest, we'll continue to build on it. And we are integrating agentic AI framework. And in fact, Dr. Ronak was talking about something that our ambition is, can we make our plant GPT to be your chat GPT for the plant operations? That's going to make the user interface to be very simple, very easy to work with. It is native language. It doesn't matter which language you are asking, the system will respond. So these are something that we are doing internally to make sure, how do we ensure the customer adoption, the customer access, the trust that we have with our customers continue to grow. I think that's another important element of what we have seen as a risk that some of you have highlighted. I just want to answer them. The third one, which I really want to highlight, which pains me a bit, I'll tell you why. We get compared with some sensor companies. We get compared with some hardware companies. We get compared with dashboard companies. And I just want to request all the customers and prospects, please ask them about what Mr. Sukumaran and Ganesh talked about. What is their false negatives? What is their false positives? Can they show a number? Can they show a percentage which can be trusted using a system? You can log into our system any day. It will show the number, as Ganesh said, based on customer validation. Our system administration themselves do not have access to override that. Everything is recorded in the system. So when you talk about our false positive or true positive, false negatives, it is what our customers have given the feedback. It's not what system generates. So when you are engaging with any of the vendors, when you are comparing with any of the vendors, ask them about what is their false negative, what is the false positive, what is the true positives, can they demonstrate in a system, right? That's one part that I really want to bring it up. The second, is it prescriptive in nature? How good is their customer adoption? Can they demonstrate 95% user adoption? This is a significant differentiation for us because we are not saying our customers are saying. We are not saying this is the potential downtime that we saved, our customers are saying. So when we get compared with traditional hardware sensor manufacturers, we are not hardware and sensor manufacturers. We also do that, but our biggest value is through the prescriptive AI part. We also integrate with other sensors. We also work with some of the customers. We integrated with some of the sensors which are already there as part of brownfield. We don't have a problem with that because we believe our biggest differentiation is the expert system we are building up through the prescriptive AI platform. So that's a differentiation that we want to bring in. I think those are the three things that I would summarize, which is the legacy hardware is not the future. How do you think we are really trying to transform that part? Two, the risk of obsolescence does not exist in the physical AI because we are continuing to build the differentiation. We are continuing to grow exponentially. I think that's going to really make us to be sustained. Third, we definitely have an exciting future with some of the roadmap that we built, which is going to make sure that we are a long-standing organization. We are a growing concern, and we will continue to be a sustainable organization to partner with our customers.
Thank you, Karthik. I think you've done a great job at summarizing everything. I was going to end with one actionable item, which I took from Ganesh, which was measure what matters. Outcome-based prescriptive maintenance, so optimized vibration, as well as process contextualization. So that's one thing. Anybody else from the audience want to add to that? One actionable item that you've taken from these folks sharing their knowledge. Before we end up, maybe just open up for Q&A.
You can ask in Thai also. We have professor and I can also speak Thai.
Yes.
I will add more comment on the risk of the transformation. I think based on my experience, the most risk of the transformation is about leadership. If you talk with someone what doesn't have digital leadership enough, it's quite hard to fail. And the leadership is not only for the top management, but also the middle manager is the key of the leadership that require as well. So my experience that I used to consult the company that they have more than 30 plants, and they try to cascade transformation and the roadmap from the top level to the factory level. But the hardest thing is how to make sure that the middle manager, like the factory level, department level, understand role and responsibility for technology transformation or digital transformation. Because digital transformation is not the current key. It doesn't mean that you have the money, you buy it, you get a solution. But it's about the culture transformation and process transformation. So let's think about the risk. Don't forget about leadership. Before you do anything, you need to make sure that your corporate or your organization have enough digital leadership. Otherwise, it's one of the risk factors that make transformation is not successful. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, if there are no questions from the audience, we'll wrap up this session. And I think Karthik has a survey to bring up again. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, Infinite Uptime, for putting this together.